This morning, I am joined by Consumer Protection TV presenter Dominic Littlewood. Thank you so much for joining us on LCRFM.
Good morning, Suzie.
Good morning. Dom, as part of a year-long campaign, you've been helping families better manage energy use in order to take control of household budgets. Why is this campaign so important to you?
Well, Suzie, at the moment, I've teamed up with Smart Energy GB because the majority of Brits at the moment, I'm sure you're probably included, I know I am, we're all getting a bit concerned about our energy consumption, the rising prices, interest rates, inflation. There's a lot of things out there at the moment which we're feeling a little bit uneasy about. And there's an area which when I teamed up with Smart Energy GB, we went round, we visited 3 families across the country to find out how they were sort of running their houses, and we gave them some helpful hints and tips on how they could try and save that. Then what we did is we went back and we revisited them. We made a little mini series called What's What About It, and that's online. And we went back to see if the hints and tips that we gave them were beneficial and how much it saved them there.
What tips then and advice did you give that has actually helped to bring those costs down?
But to try and cut things down, generally speaking, anything that heats or has a motor, that uses more energy. So areas where you can try and help your consumption is turn your thermostat down to 1. You only need to do it. Sometimes just 1 degree can make the difference. Try to cut out and cut down on things which you don't necessarily need to use and might be just a bad habit we got into. So, for example, tumble dryers. Quite often we could put the clothing out on the washing line if the weather's okay, or use an indoor clothes horse to hang your clothes up to dry. I when I'm at home, I haven't got kids running around, which does help, but my missus and me, we quite often put our washing over the balustrades. And the next day it's all dry, and then we just put it away. Simple little things like this. Turn your boiler down. Now, I became aware of this earlier in the year, and boilers ideally should be set at 60 degrees. And when I checked mine, because it's not the sort of thing we look at regularly, mine was running at 82. So I turned it down at 60. It's fine. The water's hot enough. We have showers, but that helps save your bill. Dishwashers, don't use them when they're half full. Fill them up, get a good use out of them, carry on using them. They're an efficient way to wash things. It's just make sure it's full up. Light bulbs, it's so energy saving light bulbs nowadays have really come down in price, and they're so good. So there's a big saving to be made there. Pull your settees and your furniture away from your radiators, because we're obviously getting to that stage in the year now when we're starting to put our heating on. So let's make sure all the heat goes into the room and doesn't get absorbed by your settee pushed up against it, or your bed, for example. There's an awful lot of people with period properties that have an open fireplace that they don't actually use as a fire. You imagine how much cold air is coming down that in your winter months, and how much warm air is going up it. So ideally cover it up in the winter. In the summer's not so bad, but cover it up. And if you've got bare floorboards, it was sort of a bit of a fashion thing a few years ago to rip the carpets up and stain your floorboards, put rugs down or put carpet down again. That will help save a lot of energy. I started using an air fryer, and I bought one of these ones. It's got 2 drawers in it, so you can cook independently, different things, different times, different temperatures. And I hardly ever use my big oven now. This little air fryer does it half the time and saves a lot of money. It's a great thing.
Seen lots and lots of people on social media talking about the air fryers. It's a big debate, isn't it? People saying, since I've had an air fryer, I haven't switched my oven on at all. And I can't comprehend that, but you're saying they're brilliant. So you've talked me into one. Thank you. So you've given us some brilliant tips. Thank you so much for them. I just wonder if there's anywhere where we can go to find out more tips, or at least watch your mini-series that you mentioned earlier. What's What?
Yeah, go to the Smart Energy GB website and you'll see the What's What mini-series on there. And there's loads of free information, help and tips, and lots of advice. And it's all practical stuff that any one of us could do with very little effort. And let's put some of those coppers back in our pockets.
Definitely. We are all in need of some of that. Dominic, thank you so much for chatting with us here on LCR FM. Looking forward to finding extra ways to save the coins and as well keeping ourselves warm and being able to eat too. Thank you. Truly, truly appreciate it.
You too, Susie. One other little thing I've got to say to you, if you're hanging your washing on your banisters, make sure you don't leave your smalls out when the neighbours are coming down.
Yes.
It can be very embarrassing. It has happened to me.
Especially when they're not particularly small.
Cheers,
Thank
Susie.
you. Take care. Thanks a lot.
Have a good day. Bye-bye.
And you. Bye-bye. Bye.